So, who am I and why should you care what I have to say? I was the first person in the world to max out all the classes, to do a no hit and run, and to do like a level 1 gray weapon ruthless. Okay, so let me give you a real quick overview of the class and things you need to know if that's all you care about. This is the meta build setup, although there are a few asterisks here. And the multi melta is the best weapon in the entire game. Nothing else even comes close. You just automatically win by equipping this. A fully charged shot of the plasma pistol can instantly break any reinforcement call. Also, this is something you should absolutely be exploiting the fuck out of. You should constantly be activating Iron Halo, because this effectively halves the cooldown of everybody else's ability while your Iron Halo is active. So, like, if you see a tactical doing a scan on something and you're, like, running to an elevator or you're just sitting on an elevator, please, for the love of God, just pop Iron Halo. It'll be recharged by the time you get into the next fight and need it again, and it just, gives a massive cooldown reduction to your teammates. Also, it has an innate 10% less damage while Iron Halo is active for ranged attacks. A lot of people don't know this, but this will stack with this. 30% is like greater than any sort of gains made by going to Ruthless. So just by having a heavy existing on the team, that makes fighting the Chaos missions basically an entire tier lower in terms of difficulty. That's genuinely it for all the like little special things. It's an incredibly straightforward class, so we'll just be mostly talking about theory and why 90% of its perks are really fucking bad. Oh, also, yeah. So, okay. We'll just start off by saying this is another class where the entire first row of perks are borderline fucking garbage. So it kind of takes like, you're basically not playing a class for the first like 12 levels. You're just playing Multi-Melta, the class. But then the moment that you get the second row of perks, this class goes from really good to overpowered. So, 10 enemies in rapid succession restores 1 armor segment. This is so fucking difficult to pull off. Like, you would be shocked. We were watching some people play the game on Ruthless with this perk, and genuinely, this might activate like once, maybe twice per Tyrian admission, and usually right at the end. It seems like rapid succession is like 3 seconds, and each kill doesn't reset the timer. So, like, you basically have from the moment of the first death to the last death, like 2 Melta shots to pull this off. And if you're in a situation where you shoot the Melta once and just instantly kill everything, you're not in a situation where you need to restore armor segments. So it leads to this weird situation where it's kind of a double negative. It will never proc when you need it, and it never you never need it when it procs. This is basically just infinite ammo for the multi-melta. Hitting 5 enemies versus 10 is a world of difference. Also, like, trash mobs, you'll get like 3 trash mobs sitting in a group. You just take those to the next pack and shoot once, and there you go. Unlimited ammo achieved. This is not a good perk because of how it's designed. So first off, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, good fucking luck doing that without a grenade. You know? Like, you're never gonna proc this. Like, ever. Also, you want to be using your skills as much as possible. So a 30-second cooldown, like, you'd ideally be using this skill every 30 seconds. You might, emphasis on the word might, get a single use of this per run. And that's assuming you run out of ammo during like a final stand event and you can't get to the ammo box, you're the last guy alive. Yeah, I'm reaching really fucking hard to make this perk work. And it's just like, you throw your last grenade on things climbing the wall, it pops. This gives you like half a magazine of Melta. Well, this multi-Melta doesn't have magazine. That's what makes it so good. I'll get to that in a second when I talk about the weapon. But it's a do nothing perk. You're never in a situation where you want this, especially considering that you can just take this perk and preemptively never run out of ammo. If your weapon overheats, this is decent. If it doesn't overheat, which the Melta doesn't, then, And this perk runs into the same problem as on Tactical, where it looks a lot better than it actually is. Actually try maintaining 50% overheat without fully overheating, it only gives you like these awkward like second long windows where you're able to attack, and it just creates a massively anti-fun play style. Managing to have over half your heat without going all the way over means you get to shoot for like a second, second and a half, then you stop shooting for like half a second, then you go back to it. If you miss the window, you don't benefit from the perk. If you miss the window in the other direction, you benefit for like 2 seconds, but then you have to stop shooting for like 3 while it cools down. And it just leads to this awkward play pattern that's just very not entertaining. It's more of a chore. And 15% damage is like, who gives a fuck? Tactical gets 30%. So there it's at least worth trying. 20% health is really bad because, like, you're playing heavy. This is the class that has the least amount of problems with health because the Melta. But, like, look at this other perk, dog. In heavy stance, dealing damage restores 15% more contested health, but you will not be able to move? What the fuck? Even if you're going from moving slightly to not moving at all, makes heavy stance. This is just a row of perks that are all not fun to play with. Okay, the bonus is actually nice and probably will be useful when the Melta gets its HP restore nerfed. But like, so you stand completely still and you're just a sitting duck to get shot by stuff. Or you have to constantly manage this little fucking, this bar, this like 30% window on this tiny bar. Fuck it, man. Just give me the extra health so I don't have to think about it and constantly multi-manage the tiniest little buff. Like, this is never going to be good for the stomp. And, like, the plasma pistol doesn't necessarily need more damage. But, like, this perk is okay. You know, if you're going to be using the plasma pistol and the plasma eviscerator, I think it's called, then it's a fine perk. Like, I don't know, let's put it this way. If you're relying on charged attacks, it's not terrible. But if you're not using charged attacks at all, you're never going to pick this. So this is just too niche to be universally good. Especially when it's competing with this, 10% more damage to 3 players. And mind you, Iron Halo is constantly active. This fucking perk will be giving your whole team extra damage for the entire mission. Because you should be using Iron Halo basically on cooldown because of this. And then this is like, it's the same perk for tactical. But again, why would you're playing the heavy. Your whole thing is spamming your primary as hard as possible. Why the fuck would you want to sit here with your plasma pistol? You know, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know what they were thinking with this. So these first 3 perks, there really isn't a lot to say about them because they're all various flavors of just kind of not good. You know, like, it's just so obvious what you pick. Oh, if you use the Melta, pick the perk that gives the Melta infinite ammo. Nothing will ever be able to compare to this. You know, oh, the thing that gives everyone a damage boost throughout almost the entire mission. Yeah, it's going to be really hard for anything else to compare to this. So this stacked with the Iron Halo damage reduction basically makes it so that playing Ruthless feels like playing Tier 2. It is absurd how much damage this actually negates because it's 30% for 3 people. This makes even things like the Hellbrute's plasma gun attack really not that dangerous. This makes it so you can just kind of face tank the fucking demon host's abilities at the end of the 3rd mission. Honestly, if you're playing against Chaos, you always want this. If you're not playing against Chaos, you probably just want this. But then again, this is the thing where heavy becomes awkward. If everyone is using gold weapons and they're all taking ammo perks like they should from the perk tree of the weapon, you never really need this. But this isn't good either. Because by the time you're like, if you're actually thinking about how to make classes play at their peak, you're probably playing with friends. Because I don't know how the fuck you could play this game without friends. And like, why do you need to revive them at full health anyways? assuming they're picking a good gun like a Melta, the Laz Sniper, something like that, they can just get hit or use a stim, shoot once, and get all their health back. If we assume that gets removed from the game, then still, who cares? Like, you go from reviving with half health to full health. Unless you're reviving like 5 teammates per run, you're never going to actually benefit from this to a substantial degree. And then when you consider, let's say you're fighting Chaos, right? 20% less damage from basically everything Chaos can throw at you will be more health saved in damage prevention than this adds in health restored if you're reviving like 2 or 3 people. You'd have to revive like 4 or 5 people for this to actually be noticeable. I don't know, man. It's just a weird perk. It's just a weird-ass set of team perks. Okay, now we get into the good stuff. This is pretty good because you can just pop Iron Halo, turn it off, and there you go. But it's also kind of bad. It's not good enough. It's good when you get it, but bad in general because it's only health damage. And like, again, multi-melta, health restore, health is not a valuable resource. So, not only is it, like I said here, substantially more difficult to kill 10 enemies in rapid succession than it seems on the face of it, getting a single grenade back isn't impactful. Like, sure, if it's a melt-a-bomb, it could be nice. But think about it logically, right? You melt-a-bomb a boss. You are not killing 10 enemies in rapid succession and then melt-a-bombing it again. You're melt-a-bombing it, killing the boss, killing the next horde, and then getting another one back to use on nothing. And it's 3-minute cooldown. You could only get like 4 procs of this per mission. What is this all competing with, you may ask? When Iron Halo breaks, so it, it breaks, everyone on the team gets 1 armor back. 3 points of armor restore, or 3 extra frag grenades, maybe, assuming you proc it on cooldown. Huh. Okay. I would say this perk is pretty okay, though. It's not, like, the worst thing in the world. So, here's where we need to get into, like, uptime and optimization. This perk is okay if you're actually using Iron Halo as a shield, but if you're actually using Iron Halo as a shield, I think you kind of misunderstand what it's good for. Because, think about it. You want Iron Halo to be active. You don't care if it's durable. Because when it's active, everybody gets their ability back faster. Everybody deals more damage. And, it's just like, okay. So, having Iron Halo be physically active on the field, everyone's taking less range damage, everyone's dealing more damage, and everyone's ability is coming back faster, which lets them output way more damage. So having it recharge faster, but also break faster, again, who gives a fuck? Break it for all I care, and, give me the armor restore. This is awful. Like, this is okay, so hold on. This will basically make it so you never proc this, which is anti-synergy with one of Heavy's best perks. But it does have synergy with this perk. But then again, recharging 20% faster gives you 5% more energy than losing energy 15% slower. And again, who cares about the durability penalty? You're using more Iron Halos, which means you're throwing more out to make up for that 30% loss in durability anyways. And you're getting all these bonuses that I mentioned. Like, I don't understand these perks because what if nobody goes down? What if only 2 people go down? These perks are so niche and fucking hyper-specific that it's building to fail. You are pre-assuming you are going to fail, and you're going to fail enough that you get enough value out of this. Oh, and what do you give up for this, by the way? So remember how I said you absolutely just spam Iron Halo? Yeah, you spam Iron Halo, and in between the activations, you personally get a 15% damage increase. Okay. There's never a time when you shouldn't be getting bonus damage. Either you and everyone else are getting bonus damage, or you're just getting bonus damage. But someone, somehow, some way is getting bonus damage just by you existing. Granted, it's not a lot, but it's better than Bulwark. You know, damage is better than defense. Unless the defense provided is so overwhelming that it completely makes damage not a thing you have to worry about. Bulwark doesn't give that much defense to warrant that level of praise. And giving up damage, which kills the things. Here's a pro tip from someone who literally did esports and made a living playing PvE games. Dead things can't hurt you. The best defense is good offense, because killing something before it's able to hurt you is applicable to everything. Preventing damage is only good if you take damage. This is terrible. 5 meters is nothing. So, do you want 15% damage for basically half the entire mission? Or do you want a singular, fully committal explosion that's about the size of a frag grenade? Gee, I wonder what's better. This just doesn't deal enough damage. This is a terribly balanced tree, by the way. This is like a bolt pistol to the body amount of damage. Again, 5 meters, so basically within melee range. Why would you ever want that? Why do you want to deal a bolt pistol's worth of damage to an enemy in melee range? Like, it adds nothing. One, this only works with overheat weapons. And two, if both your squad members are incapped, you're probably losing the run anyways. Just by virtue of how the game works. That probably means you were like doing mission 3 in the middle event where you have to take down the sorcerer's barrier, and like a sorcerer spawned, a scarab assassin spawned, and you got the event that spawns a hellbrute. One of those very rare parts of the game where they can just shit out like a bajillion bosses and mini bosses at you. And it's like, okay. You know, the bolter not overheating is not going to save you in that situation, ever. This will never have a practical application. This, however, is like a huge part of why Heavy is an S-tier class. Giving your whole team all of their abilities back faster throughout the entire mission is kind of a big deal. You know, I don't know what to tell you. It just is. It is a massive fucking bonus. Like, it should be pretty self-explanatory why just having Iron Halo up halves everyone's ability cooldown. As far as the multi-melta goes, some people will tell you to pick the range version. But honestly, dude, the multi-melta's range is not the same as, like, the Melta Rifle's range. I swear to God, it feels longer. But you can also get range from the perk tree. So this 1 point investment gives this weapon 2 range. This has 4 range, so just this perk is effectively half the same amount of range as that. Which is basically, it's almost on par with the purple version's range increase. But these 2 ammos will stack with this mag capacity, and it will straight up give you like fucking 45 shots or something like that. It's like 43 on the dot, I think. It also doesn't lock you out from taking all this extra damage. Which, by the way, can I point out how insane it is? 30% more damage just for holding right click, then clicking left click. And then when Iron Halo's down, you get another 15% damage. Oh my god, this class gets like 50% fucking damage to the best gun in the entire game, which will stack with tactical damage bonuses. As far as the plasma pistol goes, it's basically all the same thing. You just want to charge it quickly and maintain your ammo, because you're pretty much only pulling it out to break reinforcement calls, because a single charged shot breaks a reinforcement call. This class is very straightforward. There's really not much to say. There's really just not much to say. Like, it's just powerful. It just does everything you'd ever want a class to do. As far as PvP goes, it's like arguably the best class in the entire game. It's definitely up there. Literally, if you have 2 heavies and you just camp an objective, You can overlay your shields and block incoming damage but on both of you. Granted, this does get hard countered by flash grenades, which are like the strongest thing in the entire game mode. So, that's kind of a problem. But if you're playing against noobs who don't know about that, you just insta win. There's literally no counterplay. You literally just win. You just get two heavies with bolters shielding one another, standing in an objective choke point, and you just kind of win. Basically, any team that has two heavies is probably gonna beat any team that doesn't have two heavies if they're both on equal skill levels. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. This class is basically mandatory in both game modes. It's just really strong at everything. But it's so straightforward. This is the class you tell your friend to play because your friend's not that good at video games. You're just like, yeah, just go play heavy. Use Iron Halo as soon as it comes available.